Married couples of Reddit. What advice would you give to engaged couple? The point of arguing is not to win. It is to understand where they're coming from and why this issue matters to them. Disagreements are best dealt with when viewed as the two of you versus the problem rather than fighting one another. Anger is neither a reason nor an excuse for bad behavior. You will get angry, you will fight, but you should never insult, indulge in name-calling, throw things, or hit them. If you cannot or choose not to control what comes out of your mouth when you are angry, work on that first. Get married second. As Dr. Gottman writes in his book, Raising an Emotionally Intelligent Child, it is okay to feel all emotions. However, it is not okay to act on all emotions. As someone who studied relationship counseling, I will always upvote John Gottman. He's already one of the greats. Everyone who's had an advice column is trash compared to him. And if he had mainstream recognition, the divorce rate would plummet. Someone once told me, once you get married, your wife becomes your family and your family become your relatives. Really helped me through any stressful family gatherings. Knowing we had each other's backs. Being our own team. Gratitude is key. This sounds easy, but let me explain. The key is that gratitude is not a balancing test. Don't just be grateful the extra things your spouse does. Be grateful for every single thing. If you shop for food, then prep it, cook it, then clear the table, then load the dishwasher, then clean all the pots and pans, and then later your spouse empties the dishwasher. Thank them for doing that. And feel it. To me, this is a hard thing for people to do. And it is such a huge part of the happiness in marriage. It leads to a feedback loop of appreciation for the little things as well as the big. It makes it more likely that your spouse will appreciate you, and, unless you married a terrible person, far more likely that they will do more. You will also see more of the things they do. This isn't just stuff, but anything. Grateful for listening, for sharing, for sitting on the couch, for having your child, etc. etc. Yes, that is one of the things I love most about my relationship, is how we appreciate one another for everything. If she makes dinner, say thank you. My wife would sometimes say, "Oh, it's just chicken and veggies. It wasn't that hard." Quote, but that's not the point. I always make sure to stress how unimportant the difficulty was. It's the time and thought that counts. Too many couples end up keeping score for the tasks they do and want reciprocation in both amount and effort, and get upset when they don't get what they were expecting. It's such a waste of emotion. Don't have any expectations. Do things because you love them and it will make their day better. Not because you expect something in return. Happily married 27 years here. Here's some of what I've learned along the way. The marriage is more important than the wedding reception. Disagreements are not you versus me. They're us versus the problem. Shared goals, including finances, kids, careers, etc., are more important than shared hobbies. Sex is important. It's not everything, but it's important. It's great to love the person you're marrying, but hopefully you also like them. As in, if they couldn't be your spouse, for whatever reason, would you still choose them as a friend, exactly the way they are now? Marry someone that you don't feel compelled to try to change into someone different. Greater than it's great to love the person you're marrying, but hopefully you also like them. I'd like to follow this up with, if you are not marrying your best friend, think very carefully before getting married. They should be the first person you want to share good news with, and the first person you call for comfort when you get bad news. You should be able to sit up for hours talking to each other and spend hours together not saying a word. You are teaming up to take on the world together. You really should like the person you choose to be with. Married 21 years. The biggest transition is if you weren't living together before. Getting used to sharing everything can be difficult for some, but good communication is key to making things work. Discuss finances. Once married, you take on each other's debts and responsibilities. It's important to know what those are before the wedding. Finances are one of, if not the, biggest reasons for failed marriages. So get on the same page early and stay there. Especially since most people start off marriage by paying for an expensive wedding party. You should be discussing finances and financial goals before getting married. It should not be a short conversation. Financial goals include things like when you would like to have kids, if you want them, and what you want to have in place before then. What is a realistic expectation for how much the house you want will cost? And what will that mean in terms of saving for a down payment? Are there life goals, such as law school or big trips, that you want to accomplish before having kids? How much extra income will you need to have a baby? How much do you want to have saved for retirement? If you can do a little thing to make your spouse's day better, life easier, do it. Bring them coffee. Buy that cheese they like. Remember to set up their favorite shows to record. Grand gestures are great, but little things daily remind each other why you're together. 1. Premarital counseling from someone great. 2. When fighting, think of your entire relationship and ask yourself, is this going to matter over the course of the relationship? Probably not. 3. A trick to getting out of fights is to tell each other how important this issue is to you. You can use the 1 to 10 scale. Ask your spouse, how important is this? Because to me it's a 4. It's even easier if you go first. Honey, this is a 9 to me. Or, this is a 2. Oftentimes we get into fights and don't know how to get out of them. 4. It's never you against your spouse. It's always you and your spouse against the problem. Quote, I love your number 3. I do this all the time when I'm on road trips with friends and we're planning our activities. If they want to go someplace and I have no interest whatsoever, but it's a 9/10 for them, I will grin and bear it because long road trips are all about compromise. Same goes for long-term relationships. Fucking clean up after yourself. The only thing that will keep you together is the persistence of simply staying together in the face of all the boredom, pain, and troubles that will come. You will be bored. You will be in pain. And your relationship will be in trouble. During the bad times you literally have to just say, how are we going to work this out? My wife recently passed away from breast cancer. So I'm not technically married. But I have this advice. Marry your best friend. The one you like to have random conversations with. That interests you. The one that makes you laugh a lot. The one you can spend all your time with. The one who will support you in tough times and vice versa. You know. The one. You can have a good time with almost anyone. Don't marry someone unless you know that you can have a bad time with that person. Marry someone who will have your back during disasters and help you clean up. Pick up all the pieces and laugh together. Marry someone who will help you clean up puke, poop, and pee, especially if you plan to have pets and kids, and who will run you a hot shower when you're done. Marry your partner in disaster, and you'll end up having a good laugh while you're using the wet back to clean up an exploded fish tank together. There are many reasons that I'm marrying my fiancé. But a major one is the fact that he has taken care of me through a week-long bout of rotavirus that he caught 3 days in, and stayed with me through all sorts of puke scenarios and visits. And for all of these I knew he would support and take care of me implicitly, as I would do for him. That kind of trust is one of the most important aspects of a good relationship. Emo. Never invade Russia in the winter.